reinforcing your brand. I try and think about, what are the ways that, kind of like a mediocre website could be done different from like a really well done website that's designed to emphasize your brand. What do you get out of that? What are the things that you might do as part of like that more strategic effort to get more impact? And one area that I thought might come into play is, talking about more than just what you do and talk about why you do it. Maybe, what are the things that drive you, right? Like culture. I mean, do you think like culture and those kind of aspects, they have a place on your website and as you're trying to promote your brand?
Absolutely. Yeah. The human element, the story, is among the most compelling pieces. In some cases, more compelling than the product the person came to purchase. The story or the alignment with their values, the emotional connection that is ultimately that when people are making a purchase, they aren't necessarily thinking about the obvious things that go into a purchase decision. They are also thinking about how well this thing lines with, how does it make them feel? And so that is above all the challenge of good branding and good marketing is conveying that feeling in a way that people go, wow, I want to be part of this, or I'm part of this. These are my people.
Well, one thing I've heard in the past is, people buy from other people. So if, your business is trying to sell something, or maybe if your website is selling something directly, like we just talked about a moment ago, that's great. I'm sure like in most cases, like I admit this, like sometimes price is like a big defining factor, right? But something I know I feel really strong about is people make their decision to buy emotionally, and then they rationalize it, they justify it with logic, right? It's like, if I go to the dealership, and I see the really shiny red Tesla there, I'm like, oh man, I want to get that so bad. I really want that car. And I should, because I'm going to save a lot of money on gas, and it's going to be really convenient. It's good for the environment. So why not, right? Why not get it? But I mean, does that really play into that there? I mean, yeah, some folks, they lean really hard on, their kind of the economic factors and things like that. But if that was really the case, I mean, I don't think companies out there would invest nearly the amount of money they do on these like feel good, marketing campaigns and, all the stuff you see in like Super Bowl commercials and all that, like the Budweiser commercials from years ago. It's just the horses just trotting down the road and that music. Dun, 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 dun. Like none of that has anything to do with how much it costs to buy that beer. It just makes me like, yeah, I really want that beer. So
yeah,
yeah.
You're dead on. I mean, that is exactly what that tells you is that they've done the math, and you make more money by catering to people's emotions than you do by just promoting the product in its simplest sense. And it becomes clear if you look at even the grocery store and look at, the generic brand of beans, which aren't really a thing, but the lowest priced brand that's there, if you'll call it that, it's not getting the lion's share of the purchases. Whereas you would think if all things being equal, people would just buy the product that costs less. And they simply don't. Even people with very limited funds go and buy the thing that has a slightly more emotional connection than the bottom barrel of the barrel can of beans.
Bush's Baked Beans. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Now, some people, their culture and their emotional, their emotional compass leads them to bargain, arrangements, which means that, yeah, you're going to get people that are going to buy the cheapest can of beans, but they are people that may be more aligned to the mindset of having the cheapest can of beans because they're an extreme cheapskate or whatever it is that is part of their kind of core value system.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of goes to show that, a really great website, one that's going to have more value to your organization, more value to your brand by reinforcing that brand, by demonstrating what your culture is, like making it possible. Because I guess in some cases, people don't even make that possible because they don't talk about those things. So they end up basically forcing a customer in a place like, well, I don't know much else about them, so I guess I just decide based on price. But if you talk about why you do the work you do, that you're passionate about it, that you can tell you really put in your all because you just love doing this stuff, and you can see pictures of the team out there working hard or whatever it is, like that, it seems like me that gives a lot more latitude for those kind of emotional decisions, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, in the simplest case, people just don't want to look at unhappy people. So You wouldn't put out a site that has a bunch of people looking depressed or something, looking agonizing. So building an image of something that's positive is a real key starting point. Even if sometimes that positive thing does represent, a challenging virtue or, those kind of things. They aren't always all smiles, but they are always have something underlying that people can grab onto and feel good about.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, reinforcing your brand, your website can help a lot with that. And I suppose if you don't do a great job, could hurt your brand. Well,
absolutely.
Hi, this is Sarah from Denver Data Web. Thanks for watching. Please like our video and subscribe for future digital strategy chats. You can also visit our website at denverdata.com or find us on social media at Denver Data Web.